All right, let me start by saying happy independence to you all and welcome to the show. Very unusual to be starting by this time, but we had to engage in a special program. And but we're here to talk sports.
Absolutely,
yes, we're here to talk sports already. My name is Joseph ATEWE, saying good morning and welcome to the show this morning.
And of course, from me, still in the spirit of celebration, happy 63rd independence to all of us. We do hope that this new dawn will bring more successes in Nigeria. Now, leaving that aside and talking about sports, a whole lot happened during the weekend. It was an eventful, packed weekend, whether in the MotoGP sports, in tennis, in football, most especially in the local scene. The highly anticipated Nigerian Premier Football League kick-started on Saturday. That was on the 30th of September 2023. And all of this and more is what we'll be dishing out to you in form of information and updates this morning. Welcome on board once again. I am NENGI Ademola. Thanks for joining us this morning.
And with more than 14 goals scored in match day 1 of the NPFL, that is where we kickstart from.
Absolutely, we kickstart from giving you updates about the Nigerian Premier Football League. Now, Shooting Stars head coach Gbenga Ogumbote has praised the performances of his players in their 2-1 win over Plateau United in a matchday 1 encounter of the 2023 and 2024 Nigerian Premier Football League season. The Oluyole Warriors secured the maximum 3 points on Saturday evening at the Lekon Salami Stadium, Ibadan. While speaking after the encounter, Ogumbote assured that players will improve on their finishing. And in his words, and I quote, he told the club media, "Before now, we have been crying that we have not been able to score goals. But now that we've started with 2 goals, we have to improve on it." I mean, I recall this particular match day 1 encounter in the last season's Abridged League version. It ended in a 3-3 draw. The game pertaining Gbenga Ogumbote's side and Plateau United ended in a 3-3 draw. But this time around, Gbenga Ogumbote's boys had the upper hand against Plateau United. That game ended 2-1 in favor of 3SC. That's Shooting Stars. Now, let's move forward and talk about other games that were played on that day, Joseph.
I'm looking at some of the results here from matches played. Match day 1, don't forget, we told you that the NPFL kick started over the weekend. Katsina United and Kwara United, it ended 1-0 in favor of Katsina United. Shooting Stars and Plateau United, just as you rightly stated, and of course, we've got a reaction from the coach, Gbenga Ogumbote. It ended 2-1 in favor of Shooting Stars against Plateau United. Abia Warriors peeped Niger Tornadoes 1-0. Bayelsa United 5, Aqua United 3. It ended 2-2 between Lobby Stars and Heartland. And the game between Enugu Rangers and Doma United ended 2-1 in favor of Enugu Rangers. Sunshine Stars got one better of Kano Pillars, while the game between Bendel Insurance and Eyimba was postponed, as well as the game between Rivers United and Remo Stars.
Absolutely. Bayelsa United starting on a very fresh note, talking about the fact that they still want to hang around where the big boys are in terms of local football, talking about the Nigerian Premier Football League. 5 goals they did push past Aqua United. Robert Mizo very instrumental in that game. However, today we're going to be seeing games talking about the Nigerian Premier Football League still. Let's see if we can get that. Yeah. Sporting Lagos by 4 p.m. will be taking on Gombe United. Do not forget that Sporting Lagos, of course, just came out from the NNL, gaining promotion into the Nigerian Premier Football League. A very hot side, I tell you for sure. And they will definitely make football get back to Lagos. So all the best, and still giving you update as it pertains rather to that particular match. We know that former Lobby Stars midfielder Barry Legbara has joined Gombe United on a 1-year deal. He's likely to feature against Sporting Lagos in a matchday 1 encounter of the 2023 and 2024 Nigerian Premier Football League season. Now, the former MFM FC defensive midfielder was part of the Lobby Stars team that participated during the 2023 NPFL Championship playoffs before he moved to Gombe United to play for the Mohammed Babaganaru side in the 2023 and 2024 NPFL season. So by the hour of 4 p.m. this evening, Sporting Lagos will take on Gombe United.
And still on the local scene, so talking about local football here. We know that Nigeria's representative in the CAF Confederations Cup, and that is Rivers United, have reached the group stage of the competition for the 2nd consecutive year. The Pride of Rivers confronted a 12 Filante of Burkina Faso in the 2nd leg of the competition on Sunday and secured a narrow 2-0 win. The first leg, played at the Yamoussoukro Stadium in Abidjan 2 weeks ago, ended goalless. Playing at the Adokia Mass Market Stadium in Port Harcourt, Rivers United had to rely on the last-minute brace from Alex Oyowa to secure a 2-0 victory. The Nigerian side won the tie 2-0 on aggregates and qualified for the group stage of the tournament.
Well, Joseph, let's still stick around and talk about the CAF Confederation Cup. Formerly, it was Bendel Insurance FC of Benin City and Rivers United in the race. But currently, we know that Bendel Insurance of Benin City were knocked out by their opponent. On Friday, that match was played 9 p.m. in the night. And, of course, all hopes, went back to Rivers United, and definitely they've been able to advance to the group stages. A whole lot of things went wrong for Bendel Insurance, but people are of the excuse. People are talking about the fact that it's just their first outing when it comes to the continental phases, when it comes to continental football. So it shouldn't be much shame attached to them.
There's nothing to be ashamed of. As we said during the start of the season, that they are newbies when it comes to this competition. This is one of Africa's biggest club competitions, so it is expected that the big boys were going to dominate and. So
they played against back-to-back champions.
Yeah, qualifying for the competition to start with was a huge one. He had what's his name right now? The assistant coach
of Bendel
said on Saturday when we spoke to him, saying the last season they weren't expecting the team to even qualify for any major competition. They just wanted to be. But they made it to the Super Six. They made it to the Super Six and then qualified. Also won the Federation Cup, and that gave them the slot to be on the continent. So it's there's still more time. All they need to do is capitalize on the achievements they recorded last season and maybe getting 1 or 2 players. But then the problem here is that they have to make money. Football is business. And one of their top strikers, Imade, has left the club already.
Exactly. And, definitely, just like the assistant coach of Bendel Insurance would say, Soja goes, Soja come, Barak remains. Definitely, Bendel Insurance remains. And all they need to do is, sort out for a top striker who can actually help them in terms of chance creation. I've said this before. I said it on Saturday that they are very good in terms of that. But the finishing is definitely their problem. Well, let's hope to see a better Bendel Insurance this new season.
We'll wait and see. Still on the continent?
Of course, still on the continent. The Confederation of African Football will pay Nigerian champions Enyimba FC the sum of $1 million for participation ahead of the African Football League. Now, CAF announced the prize money for the inaugural African Football League tournament, which will feature the highest ranked and most successful football clubs on the African continent on Saturday. And according to the football governing body, winners of the 8-team tournament will gulp down a huge sum of $4 million. And we also understand the fact that an official statement read that the Confederation of African Football announced the prize money for the inaugural African Football League competition, which will feature the highest ranked and most successful football clubs on the African continent. And according to the football governing body, the competition will kick off in October, which is this month, with the first fixture happening at Simba SC of Tanzania and Al Ali of Egypt. Well, that is to start with, talking about the first edition of the African Football League. We also understand that Nigeria's representative at the African Football League, that's Enyimba FC, their bar-based club, will kick off its campaign against former Botola Pro champions Wydad Casablanca of Morocco in Uyo, and other clubs that will be featured in the tournament are the following, Mamelodi Sundowns of South Africa, Esperance de Tunis of Tunisia, and TB Mazembe. And the prize money for the African Football League are also as follows: $4 million for the winners, $3 million for the runners-up, $1.7 million for each of the semi-finalists, and $1 million for each of the quarter-finalists. So this stands to be a win-win situation for both the club and also for CAF.
Well, that's it, and there's a lot of money involved, 770 million.
Absolutely.
That is what it is. That is what Enyimba would be getting for participating alone at the competition. That is good. It's more encouragement for these local clubs, to be able to do the needful to make it to the group stages of CAF competitions. But then NENGI is still staying on the continent, as we know that the CHAN competition faces postponements.
Exactly. Now, the update coming from the CAF headquarters in Cairo, Egypt, indicates the 2024 Championship of African Nations is set to be cancelled. The reason for the cancellation is the inability of the African soccer ruling body to secure a host country for the tournament. Algeria hosted the last edition, and Senegal emerged as the winner, beating the host in the final. And to date, no country in the continent has shown interest in staging the biennial competition, and this has led to the postponement of the qualifiers. Now, the qualifiers was initially slated to commence in September, but was postponed as the host is yet to be determined. Now, talking about the CHAN 2024 facing cancellation, don't you think that, much of these competitions, instead of definitely would need to focus on, our bids for 2027, 2029 and thereabout. But then, since this is left vacant, Joseph, what do you think about Nigeria actually, putting in a bid for this particular one in smaller competitions like this?
There's so much. There's so much on the hands of Nigeria right now, and they do not feel they want to waste their resources. It took time before people embraced the female football, and in time past, it used to be a waste, in the sense that CAF or FIFA were pumping so much money, and what they get in return is nothing to write home about. I remember there was a FIFA World Cup final, 60,000 capacity stadium, it had just 5,000. That was long ago, but it's not happening now. I think CAF itself will have to rebrand that competition. Just in case you don't know what the CHAN competition is, it's the African Cup of Nations, but for players who ply their trade here in Africa. Do you understand? Exactly. So CAF will need to rebrand these if they want, countries to be interested, because if you pump in so much money, if you talk of TV rights, who is watching it? Would you watch the CHAN competition? When other matches are going on, we'll probably just follow online. Of course, so I think it still boils down to CAF to run that competition if they want it to be at that stage. Well, let's see how things pans out to be for CAF and the CHAN 2024. Joseph, let's also talk about the Super Falcons of Nigeria. Maybe I'll leave that to you to talk about as a woman. Okay. Yeah, because I've been accused so many times, so I do not think I want to be caught in the web again. Caught in the web. Yeah. I think you have much more to talk about this particular, explanation you just gave, but definitely let me give you updates as it concerns the Super Falcons of Nigeria. Now, 43 days after the conclusion of the 2023 Women's World Cup in Australia and New Zealand, the Nigerian Football Federation and the Super Falcons seems headed for another showdown after the players stated that they were treated like slaves following their unpaid bonuses and allowances over the years. This is coming from the Punch newspaper. Now, just before the start of the FIFA Women's World Cup, the Punch exclusively reported that the Nigerian ladies threatened to boycott their opening game, and they eventually sealed an agreement with the NFF that they would receive $100 daily camp allowance and a $3,000 win bonus and $1,500 bonus for a draw. And FIFA later announced that each player at the tournament would receive a minimum of $30,000. Now, according to the Athletics, the players claimed they had received less than half of their daily camp wages and no match bonuses from the NFF. Joseph, we go again, talking about camp and, of course, match bonuses. Palava, if I want to put it that way. Yeah, of course, we spoke about this, and I do tell people when I say something, I take time, I'm never wrong. I said it here even before the competition. You're human, Joseph. What is you're never wrong? Okay, I'm most times not wrong. So I said it here before the competition started. I said that, see, it's a good idea from FIFA that you pay this money directly into the accounts of these girls. Yeah. Once it gets to the federation, there'll be a problem. Exactly. And now we're here. $30,000 was what these girls were supposed to receive. But it's been cut short now. They're receiving less than $15,000. We hear that the United States, they all received their money in full. South Africa, they received their money in full. Was it paid through the federation? It was paid through the federation, yeah. So Nigeria, I mean, it's just like that. It's a country. I really don't know. Sometimes we are tired to analyze anything that comes to Nigeria because, well, I don't know, but they're receiving less than $15,000. And that's the situation. So we might have players, stage a protest once again at the glass house. Yeah. It keeps reoccurring. It's more like it's no more coincidental. It's no more a mistake. It's now more like a permanent for something that is abnormal, turning into a normal phenomenon when it comes to football in Nigeria. It's very unacceptable. Talking about the NFF and all of these bonus issues and rules pertaining to Super Falcons of Nigeria. But still giving you updates concerning the Super Falcons. Remember that for the Paris 2024 Olympic was stand to face Ethiopia. Now, the Confederation of African Football has named Togolese referee for the 2024 Olympics qualifier match between the Super Falcons of Nigeria and Ethiopia. The second preliminary round match of the Paris 2024 Women's Olympic Football Tournament will hold at the Moshood Abiola Stadium, Abuja. Now, King Deji Edo will be at the center and will be assisted by our compatriots Agbedanu Abra Sitofe. We also have Medome Vicentia Enyowa talking about the referees. And of course, Olari Daloba from Guinea will serve as the referee assessor, while Ghanaian Ziga will be the match commissioner in Abuja. Now, the encounter between Ethiopia and Nigeria will hold between October 23rd
to 31st, 2023. And Africa will be represented by 2 countries in the women's football event at the 2024 Olympic Games, which will be staged in Paris, France. The Super Falcons have failed to qualify for the last 3 editions of the Olympics, but we also understand that the West Africans are high on confidence after making it to the round of 16 at the 2023 FIFA Women's World Cup. We have the arsenal and what it takes to be among the 2 countries in order to represent Africa at the Paris 2024 Olympics. And
just let us let you know that it is done and dusted, talking about the NYC, that's the National Youth Games. And of course, in light of that, the President, Bola Tinubu, has acknowledged the positive impact of the National Youth Games, saying it generates both direct and indirect employment and has opportunities in the sports value chain. Now, the 7th edition of the NYG ended at the Stephen Keshi Stadium, Asaba, on Saturday evening, with the host Delta emerging victorious with a total of 116 medals. Our Team Delta clinched an impressive haul of 51 gold, 34 silver, and 31 bronze medals, securing their 7th consecutive title. And
well, congratulations to Delta right there. The likes of Bayelsa, Edo, Kwara, the likes of them, of course, also making a whole lot of medals.
Their 7th consecutive title. That's huge.
That's huge. It's because something is working. 7 times in a row. It's because something is working. So
I think I need to speak to Obaseki.
Exactly.
Because I don't know what he did for Bini. Now, second,
should we talk about Osun State right now? I think the last time we checked on the medal table, they were 16th.
I'm just about to from Edo State.
Okay, so but you currently ply your trade right here, so you need to show support.
I'm showing support. Yeah, it's.
But we understand the fact that when it comes to Edo State government and when it comes to arranging of athletes, they have it all. Just that maybe there is an extra sparkle from Delta State.
So jokes aside, there's been 3 states dominating by also Edo State and Delta State.
Let's not forget Lagos.
Yeah, Lagos trying to sneak in. They're the Newcastle of the league. Yeah, trying to, always trying to cause upset.
But then you know that something is working in Lagos.
Something is working in Lagos. And it's just a matter of time before they break loose.
Yeah, it's true.
And for Osun State, honestly, kudos to them. They didn't finish last. And they finished 16th or 17th, and they came back with some medals.
Yeah, exactly. Because
if you look at the preparation and everything, which they didn't have before the competition started, left like 48 hours before the competition started, and I think they tried.
That doesn't mean it's really good. Yeah. Because we need to improve in terms of athletics. Now, you want to talk about still participating in the National Youth Games. You want to talk about the likes of Yobe, Zamfara, so many of them like that.
Many are not in the spotlight.
Exactly.
Many of those states
go there to tick register, and let's just let it not be like.
Some of the athletes they even take. Some of them are broad athletes. And what is helping Delta to, we must say, is that the amounts they pay their athletes. For example, Osun State will give their gold medalists say 50,000. In Delta, you're getting $1 million.
Why won't I represent Delta?
That's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
So when you see Kendi Omolaja
representing Delta,
for Delta State, you understand what we're saying. So I think the money plays a huge role, and that is why these guys will always run to those states because they don't make so much. $1 million for a gold. So if I win 4 medals, I have 4 million.
Exactly.
So
also the sports minister, according to him, he said over 400 athletes had been identified from the participating states at the games. Well, we do hope that these athletes would definitely be groomed when it comes to their talent, of course, that would stand to represent Nigeria for a very long time.
You are still watching Sports Spring on Western Spring Television. We need to go on a break. Let's remind you once again that it was action-packed over the weekend, from football to the tracks to the courts, talking about all sports. But we'll start with football. Let's give you a highlight of how it all went down over the weekend. The smoking Arsenal on fire.